is introduced by Robert Lucas. So we know that there are two types of expectations. One is the adaptive expectation and another is rational expectation. So adaptive means the expectation is formed on the past behavior of a variable, of the variables. So for example, whenever we find out the relationship between expected inflation, actual inflation and cyclical unemployment, then the inflation inertia is based on the adaptive expectation. That means expected inflation of the previous year. Whereas rational expectation, the expectation is formed on all possible and available informations. So for example, if we want to predict the behavior of price, then we have to predict it on the basis of the information of demand side factors and supply side factors. That is the basic difference between rational expectation and adaptive expectation. So rational expectation is actually the formation of expectation on the behavior on the basis of all available information. So that's why if we consider the short run supply curve and long run supply curve. So here in horizontal axis we are measuring Y and vertical axis we are measuring the price level. So according to Friedman, this Y bar is the natural level of output. And here if we consider is the demand curve and this is YS, which is based on the expectation, price expectation P. This is the short run aggregate supply curve. So according to theory of rational expectation, whenever there is an increase in demand to YD dash, automatically the behavior of the agents will change accordingly. They expect the difference in the price, they expect the change in price, and automatically the workers will demand for higher wage. The different agents also charge price accordingly, and aggregate supply curve will shift leftward on the basis of higher expected price. So here what we can see, the workers and all the agents in the economy, they behave rationally on the basis of the information. So if we see the labor market also, that in horizontal axis we measure demand and supply of labor, vertical axis the wage rate. So this is the labor demand function, which is given by P equals W equals to VMBL, and this is the labor supply function, which is a function of real wage. So initially this is the labor market equilibrium. So for any demand, if there is an increase in price, and due to increase in price, what we see, the labor demand rises. So workers can realize their decline in real wage. They are worse off. So what will they will, this is real money wage charged on a particular expected price. So here what will they do? They will also shift the labor supply. So if I see W by P, LS is a function of W by P1. So what we see here, as the employment is at the natural level L bar, So given the production function, output will also be at the natural level y bar. So finally what we see that output and employment will remain at its natural level with the expectations if people can make proper expectation about the prices. So now we will formalize the model of rational expectation in which we will find that if the people's expectation is natural, then only supply shock can cause a change in the level of output and employment. So, in other words, the divergence of output from its natural level and cyclical unemployment, they will be determined only by the supply shocks. So, first, let us start with the formal model of rational expectation. So, let us consider the demand function is given as y equals to a minus b into p. But p stands for the actual price level, a and b. A is positive, b is also positive. The supply function is given as the short run supply function y equals to y bar plus alpha into p minus p. Right now we are not considering any kind of shocks. So if we start from that expectation is rational, that is p equals to p. So plotting p equals to p in this equation will get y equals to y bar. And this is my equation number 1, equation number 2, this is my equation number 3, y equals to y bar. So if we replace equation 1 by 3, what we will get? Y bar equals to a minus bp, or so this is equals to actual price and this will be equal to the expected price. So we give this name equation number 4. So far we have discussed, we have not yet considered the supply shock. So now we will introduce a supply shock. The supply shock is completely unexpected, so it will be considered as it will be added in the equation just like a random variable. The mean of which is 0 and the variance will be constant. So this type of variable is completely unanticipated. So let us consider a negative supply shock, just like the oil price hike or any kind of warfare, this type of negative supply shock. So the demand function is given as usual a minus bp equals to y as given in equation 1. Now equation 2 of the aggregate supply function or short run aggregate supply function, we'll write it in this way: y bar plus alpha into p minus pe minus v. So V is positive, the value of V is positive for a negative supply shock and the value of V will be negative for a positive supply shock. So that's why we are giving symbol minus. So now if we do it here, the demand equals to supply, the equilibrium condition will be given as minus B. So first we will solve the value of B from here. A. So the value of P will be given as or finally if we multiply the both sides by numerator and denominator by minus 1, we will get A minus y bar plus alpha P plus B divided by alpha plus B. So I'll give it equation number 5. Now, if we form the expectation now it's the time to form the expectation. So this equation in expectation form, we can write that Ey bar plus alpha into EPE plus EV divided by alpha plus B. So from here, what we can write, EA will be exactly equal to A because A is constant. That indicates the demand side factors. So expected value of natural rate of output and actual value both are equal. There will be no difference. So A minus Y bar plus alpha into expected value of expected price will be the same. So here right hand side PE, and what is our property? We have already first discussed that the V is a random variable and nobody can form any kind of expectation about the random variable. So expected value of the random variable will be equal to 0. So finally alpha plus B. So from here we will take the value of PE. So by cross multiplication, alpha plus B into PE equals to A minus Y bar minus alpha PE. So I write the equation on the right side, P equals to A minus Y bar plus. And come back to here. Alpha P plus BP equals to A minus Y bar plus alpha P. So this alpha P will be dismissed. So finally we will get P A minus Y bar by B. This is equation 6. So now in equation 5, we will replace the value of PE which is given in equation 6 and then we will calculate it. So P equals to A minus Y bar plus alpha, replace the value A minus P bar by, A minus Y bar divided by B plus B whole divided by alpha plus b. So finally p equals to b by alpha plus b. So b into a minus y bar plus alpha into a minus y bar plus b into b. Or in other words, alpha plus b into a minus y bar plus bv whole divided. So now it's time to find the value between the actual price and expected price. So this is the value of P, and finally what we do, P minus P equals to minus A minus Y bar divided by B. So finally we get P minus PE equals to B into alpha plus B. So alpha plus B into A minus Y bar plus B into B minus alpha plus B into. So these two positive value, negative value, these two will be dismissed. And finally P minus PE equals to BV divided by. So what we see, if the people make the rational prediction of the behavior of the all variables, then the difference between actual price and expected price will be positive or negative. That means will be non-zero if there is any kind of supply shock. So if supply shock, there is no supply shock, that means if we see here V equals to 0, then we will find that P minus P equals to 0 or P equals to P. So here what we can see, the actual price can diverge from the expected price if there is no supply shock in the economy. But with the presence of supply shock, if there is negative supply shock, what we will see, that P will be greater than P. Because we have already said, just whenever we are framing the equation using the random variable, V is the random variable, and for negative shock, supply shock, V will be positive. And for positive supply shock, V will be negative. So if negative supply shock, V is positive, that means actual price will be greater than expected price. So now we use this equation in the aggregate short run aggregate supply function. So we know that y equals to y bar plus alpha into P minus P plus V. So we replace the value of P minus P by this. So y equals to y bar plus alpha into V divided by V. So it will be y equals to y bar plus alpha plus V was minus V. So what we can write here, y equals to y bar plus, or in other words, better to write in this way, y minus y bar equals to alpha V minus alpha plus B into V divided by alpha plus B. So finally it will be alpha V minus alpha V plus BV, minus BV divided by alpha plus B. So ultimately Y minus Y bar equals to minus BV divided by alpha plus B. So what we find there, that if it is a negative supply shock, value of B is positive. So that means the actual output will be less than the natural level of output. And if it is a positive supply shock, then B will be negative. The V will be negative, then Y minus Y bar will be positive. So now the final thing is that find the case of cyclical unemployment. And here we will also use the Okun's law. So what does Okun's law say? That if the actual output is greater than natural level of output, then the actual unemployment will be less than natural level of unemployment. Or if, and the vice versa. So we can formally make a relationship between the divergence of actual output from natural level of output and the cyclical unemployment. So according to Okun's law, we can write that 1 by alpha into Y minus Y bar equals to minus beta into U minus UN. So this equation exhibits an inverse relationship between the fluctuation of output from natural level in the short run and the cyclical unemployment. So Y minus Y bar equals to minus B into alpha into beta into alpha into U minus UN. So if I plot this value in this equation, what we can find? Minus beta into alpha U minus UN equals to minus BV divided by alpha plus B. So minus minus dismissed. So what we see here? U minus UN is B into V divided by alpha into beta alpha plus B. So B positive. So all these are values are positive. B positive, alpha positive, beta positive, this is beta, BV, B positive, beta positive, alpha positive and B positive, because B positive means we are considering a negative supply shock. So we can see U is greater than UN. So cyclical unemployment will be negative if there is a negative supply shock. And similarly, if we see, consider that the case of a positive supply shock, that means V is less than 0. So we can write here that UV B is less than 0, U will be less than UN. That means cyclical unemployment will be negative. So what we find here, in rational expectation, we find that one thing, Y minus Y bar equals to minus BV divided by alpha plus B. So if V equals to 0, that means there is no supply shock, then actual output will be equal to natural level of output. So we can say if V equals to 0, Y will be equal to Y bar. And similarly, if V equals to 0 in this equation, it will be equal to UN. So that means what? The output and unemployment both will diverge from the natural level if and only if there is a supply shock in the economy. No demand shock will no demand shock will be able to cause any divergence from the natural level of output and employment if the behavior of the individuals or behavior of the agencies rational. That means if they can make proper rational prediction about the economic variables, then only supply shock can cause a divergence of output and employment from their respective natural levels. So now if we consider supply shocks, which are mainly random in nature and their mean is zero, that means sometimes positive supply shock, sometimes negative supply shock. So we can easily relate with the business cycle activities of the economy. So we can also, from rational expectation, we can also say that whenever the economy is in the upswing, then the actual level of output will be more than the natural level of output and cyclical unemployment will be negative. And whenever economy is in the downturn, that means below the normal growth path of the economy, then cyclical unemployment will be negative. Cyclical unemployment will be positive and actual level of output will be the natural level of output. So what we see here, that in rational expectation, if the all expectations are formed rationally and if there is no supply shock, then economy will remain at its long run equilibrium level of output and employment. That means natural level of employment and output. That's all.